It's a losing streak with no apparent end in sight. Here to break down another disappointing loss is News for Jack's sportscaster, Allesandra Pontbriand. Good morning, Alessandra.
Good morning. I don't mean to smile. We were talking about your billboard right before
Okay,
this.
knock it off. Let's move on to a subject that anybody cares about. The Jags are forced to take the field for a second week without their star quarterback. I'm glad you're amused. Um, this was a 52-6
Yeah.
uh, game. It's one of those you almost wish they had a mercy rule like they do in youth sports. It was just painful
Oh,
to
yeah.
watch.
No, absolutely. At halftime, I was like, we still have another half of this game. I was watching it at home with my roommate, and we were just like, this is insane. Yeah, 52-6. It was the worst loss in franchise history. The second to worst loss was a 44-point loss to the Lions in
Mm.
1995, which was the first season of the franchise. And the 52 points are the most allowed, of course, in franchise
That's
history.
just gotta be agonizing to continue to be on the
Yeah.
field while that's happening to you.
Oh,
What are you
yeah.
hearing
No,
from the team
absolutely.
members? Like,
They said after the game, they're frustrated, of course, they're disappointed. Nothing was working. Literally nothing was working. I mean, on defense, they could not stop the Lions at all. Jared Goff he ended his day in the fourth quarter when with a backup Hendon Hooker, who was a former Tennessee Volunteer, subbed in. Goff, he had a perfect passer rating, 412 yards, 4 touchdowns. Both
wow.
of their two receivers, Amon-Ra St. Brown, had 11 receptions, 161 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jamison Williams, who went to Alabama, had 4 receptions, 124 yards, and 1 touchdown. And then on the ground, David Montgomery had 15 carries, 75 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Jahmyr Gibbs, who also went to Alabama, that's where I graduated from.
I'm getting the sense, yeah.
I know, right? He had 11 carries, 69 yards, and 1 touchdown. They just lit up the stat sheet. I mean, good for them. They scored 7 touchdowns in their first 7 drives. Then their 8th drive, they ended with a field goal. And then the 9th drive ended the game. And they could have scored on that drive too, to be honest, if they really wanted to. But I think they were nice enough not to.
So Trevor was out for this game. It was the second game he's out for this
Yeah.
shoulder injury. But I mean, to be fair, the team hasn't been doing great with him. I'm not sure how big of a difference it made to not have him there.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult because he wasn't in the game, so you really don't know. You could only speculate if it would have helped, but maybe with the confidence. I mean, he is the franchise quarterback. Doug Peterson told Melanie Collins that before the game. This is his team, but who knows? I mean, nothing was working for them. With Mac Jones, literally nothing was
The
working.
backup, yeah.
Yeah, so the total net yards for the two teams, Detroit had 645 yards, Jacksonville only had 170, and first downs, Detroit had 38 first downs, Jacksonville only had 10. So of course they could not move the ball, they couldn't convert first downs. It's really disappointing. I think back to the Bills game in the beginning of the season, and after the game, Doug Peterson said that, you can kind of flush that away because it was uncharacteristic. At this point in the
Mm.
season, I don't think you can flush that away because I think it is characteristic of the team that they have. It's disappointing to hear, but I think at this point, and you've already seen the smoke go out there that, firings are coming. At this point, I think you've hit rock bottom and something needs to change. And unfortunately, listen, these are people that have jobs just like you and I and everyone else, and you don't want anyone to get fired. That's like the worst possible thing, especially in the public eye. That's just humiliating. It's disappointing. And I really do feel bad, but I think that something needs to change. And I think that there's going to be quite a few firings coming up in the next couple of weeks, probably by the end of the season.
You anticipate that Peterson is on his way out?
I think at this point, the one thing that we learn in sports is that if the smoke is out there, the fire's right near. And this always happens with every coaching at every level. If there's already the rumor is out that there's going to be, a firing or, a termination coming soon, that it's definitely coming. I mean, the only person that I've ever seen is Billy Napier, who was basically going to get fired, and he was able to coach his way out of it. I mean, this season you saw it because they were like, oh no, he's coming back. But everyone thought at the beginning of the Florida Gator season that, oh, for sure he's done. So it's the only coach I've ever seen.
So the team is now 2-9,
Yeah.
which just like even hard to believe. And right now there's this 400-foot mega yacht that's docked
Yeah.
right under the Main Street Bridge, which I guess is still stuck open. I mean,
Not as big
so
as your billboard.
the big boss is in town. Just what kind of a pall does that cast over the management? They've got a bye week this week.
Yeah, I mean, you have to listen, you have one of the richest people in the entire world with one of the biggest yachts in the entire world parked down the street from you. You have to think that there's some pressure. You can feel you not only can you see it, everyone sees it, but you can feel the pressure. So I think they know that I mean, maybe he's here for fun, but I doubt it. I think he's here because there's going to be change coming and, he's
Business, not pleasure.
I think
On
so.
Kismet. All right.
But
Well,
hey, Jacksonville's a great city, so I would come here for pleasure.
sure. All right. Alessandra Pontbriand, thanks so much for being here. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
All right.